We live in a global economy. There is absolutely no denying that. And it is the US which has been most successful at going global, which is why almost anywhere you go, you will find American fast food. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Subway, Pizza Hut, Starbucks, all of that. But Germany has also been getting in on the act with its discount supermarkets. For example, Aldi Süd now has stores in the US, while its sister company Aldi Nord owns Trader Joe's. But things don't always go according to plan, and while there have been some successes, there have also been some spectacular failures. And when that happens, it's normally a problem with cultural differences. Companies that don't take local culture into account are very likely to fail. This is what happened a few years ago when Walmart was forced to pull out of Germany. More recently, the German chain Lidl has run into difficulties in the US. They're still there, but they have had to massively rethink their strategy. Lidl did actually try to account for cultural differences, just not very successfully. For example, they made their American stores much bigger than their European stores, but that just made them more expensive to run, which is a big problem for a brand trying to attract customers with low prices. One of the biggest problems is that Lidl built their stores in all the wrong places. They completely misunderstood how Americans do their shopping and so built their stores in places that locals just found weird. They also failed to understand that Americans are much more likely than Germans are to buy pre-prepared foods, and also their stores were laid out in a way that American customers found bizarre and confusing. Shoes next to chocolates, that kind of thing. At least Lidl has identified the problems and is trying to correct them, so may yet succeed. For Walmart in Germany, any recognition of the mistakes that they made came far too late. Walmart first arrived in Germany in 1997 and left in 2006 after 9 difficult years. And it's worth looking at the problems that Walmart had for what they can tell us about some of the cultural differences between the US and Germany. First of all, Walmart managed to creep out their own employees. One of the things that they required of them was participation in a company chant. Before the shift began, workers would have to perform choreographed movements while chanting the company name. In the US, this is a bonding exercise, very useful for helping to foster a team spirit. In Germany, it looks like a sinister cult. It even reminded some people of the Nuremberg rallies. Then there were the smiles. Walmart required its employees to smile at customers. Now, in the US, this is a friendly gesture, a matter of basic politeness, but in Germany it's seen as fake and therefore a sign of insincerity. Why are you grinning at me like that? We don't know each other. Are you trying to make me believe that you're genuinely pleased to see me? Also, if a Walmart staff member came within 10 feet, that's about 3 meters of a customer, they had to offer that customer their help. In America, this is a basic courtesy. In Germany, it's an annoying interference. Oh, leave me alone, please. I'm not an idiot. I'm perfectly capable of doing my own shopping. If I want your help, I'll ask for it. But perhaps the main reason Walmart eventually gave up entirely was because they actually fell foul of German law. Walmart was not prepared for a unionized workforce that would resist policies that they didn't particularly like, and the company had to discover the hard way that in Germany you can't put just anything you like in a contract. The crunch apparently came with Walmart's ban on employees having relationships. Staff were not allowed to date each other or even to flirt with each other, and that just does not wash in Germany. An employer simply cannot legally regulate what you do in your own free time. And so in 2005 a German court ruled that those clauses were inadmissible, and that came on top of legal difficulties with clauses requiring employees to spy on each other, adding a GDR Stasi vibe to the already existing Third Reich vibe. As global as our economy now is, cultural differences are still very important. Any company hoping to go global must understand the local cultures or fail. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to send me a postcard, here's the address. And don't forget to visit my website and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Also, if you'd like access to special bonus content and help with the costs of running this channel, please consider making a small monthly donation on Patreon.